Hello, our team is composed by Orlando Salinas,
and Luis Fernando Gutierrez.
and we're going to be talking about the town of Xilitla. Xilitla is a little town located in the southeastern part of the state of San Luis Potosí in a zone called La Huasteca Potosina. It has an area of 415 square kilometers, and it is known for its fertile mountains that create panoramic landscapes throughout the municipality. It was founded in 1553 by the Augustine order, but it was first populated by the Olmecas and the Aztecas. Many ethnic groups have lived here. First, the Huastecs or Tenec, who are the main people that live in the Huasteca Potosina. Their name means who lives in their camp with their language, blood, and share the idea. Other indigenous tribes that lived in the Huasteca Potosina are the Chichimecas, Nahuas, Pames, Totonacos, and Tepehuas. And let's not forget the Olmecas, who were the first people to ever live in this area, coming from the Panuco River, when they established permanent settlements and villages. The Huasteca had influence from the Toltecas and the Chichimecas at the beginning, and it was once under the control of the Mexica Empire. And let's not forget that the Chichimecas were responsible for the leaving of the St. Augustine order, since they attacked their convent twice. Xilitla's main economic activity is the coffee and the citrus, with them planting the crops and harvesting throughout the year. Even though coffee and citrus are the main economic activity, there has been an increase in other economic activities in the town. For example, a study revealed that 30% of the economic activity in Xilitla was tourism, which has increased in the past few years. Xilitla has gained popularity because of its incredible views and landscapes, but mostly because of Edward James' garden sculptures, which we will talk about later in the video.
In the 2020 population census, the results came out as Xilitla having an estimate of 46,741 people, 49.1% men and 50.9% women. The population decreases by 3.41% since the last census. Most of its residents live in over 100 rural villages, and about 30,000 residents live in indigenous households, and about more than 50% of them speak Huastec, but they also speak Spanish.
Most of the buildings in Xilitla date from 500 years ago. An example of this is the St. Augustine Convent. Its construction began in the year 1537 and ended in the year of 1553. It served as a place of worship, but also as a fortress against the Chichimecas. They were attacked twice in the years of 1569 and 1587. Nowadays, it serves as a church and as a museum. One of Xilitla's main attractions is the Surrealist Garden of Edward James. He was a British noble who happened to be also rich. Las Posas, and that's what the locals call it, or the Surrealist Garden of Edward James, is a garden of sculptures in Xilitla. Initially, he wanted to build a Garden of Eden, so he went on to find a perfect location for this. And when he saw Xilitla in 1945, he fell in love with the place so much that he began constructing the sculptures that now lay there. His construction began in 1949 and ended in the year of 1984, containing different sculptures and buildings, pools, and fountains. It has also many symbols of Masonry. The last building that stands out from the other is the Museum of Leonora Carrington. She was a British-born Mexican surrealist artist, and she was a sculptor. Xilitla has a lot of famous dishes, such as the zacahuil, the enchiladas huastecas con cecina, and bocoles. The town itself has many traditions and parties. From May 1st to the 15th, there is the annual Feria de Xilitla and rooster fights. From August 27th to September 2nd, there is the Fiesta de San Agustín. On August 28th, there is a Celebración con Danzas de Soledad varitas y rebozo. Music from the region of the Huasteca is played with the violin, the jarana, and the quinta huapanguera. Here's an example of how it sounds. The Huastecos elaborate musical instruments such as violins and guitars. They also elaborate toys of all kinds and pottery. Even, they create bags and other articles for daily life. The city itself doesn't have any important works of art. Some of what could be considered tangible objects are these sculptures placed in Edward James Garden. Another example of art in the city could be the sculptures of the artist Leonora Carrington, which lay in her museum. The state of conservation of the town and the Huasteca Potosina is pretty well. The town itself is well conserved. In my personal experience, I visited Xilitla last year in December and found out that the town is very clean. But most importantly, its important sites and areas are well preserved and well guarded. Since it is located in the Huasteca, the mountains and all the nature could be dirty and full of trash, but there is not a single soda can or bag of chips on the floor. Everything is clean and everything is enjoyable. According to a research study done by the Universidad of San Luis Potosí, the region of the Huasteca Potosina has been aiming to boost tourism and its economy since the mid-80s. But in the process, many towns have prospered, but many others have not had the same luck. The main problem in this area is the thriveness and the prosperity that many people gain from tourism. But the other phase of this town, which we all ignore, and it is the hard realities that the indigenous and the poor people have to face. Another problem is the overpopulation of tourists in relation to the size of the town. In my experience, last time I went to the city, it was almost impossible to find a parking spot, and it was even harder to move through the city in a car. Yes, it is a small town, where most people walk or get to their places using a motorcycle, but the size of the town and the form of the streets made mobility a difficult task. There are 2 4-rated stars hotels in Xilitla, but the price of these does not match the profile of the average tourist. But in the town, there are other varieties of hotels and places to stay at. Many of the good hotels are outside the city, which makes it difficult for people to go to when they are just trying to spend the night somewhere close. There are also hostels and Airbnbs, which are also a good option if you don't want to stay at a hotel. Restaurants are mostly budget friendly since most of the cooking is done by locals. There's not a variety of food though. Most of the restaurants offer the same enchiladas, huevo con zacahuil, and many other things that come from the city. Budget varies from whatever you want to do. Normally, the attractions such as Edward James's Garden or the museums won't cost more than 200 pesos for the stay, the food, and whatever article you would like to get. 1,500 pesos a day will be enough. This will be all. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.